birth. If we have a taste to meditate, an urge to seek, a daring to live the life divine, there is nothing which may sound original in this interpretation to all diligent students of Gita, a sacred textbook that has been roaring time and again in an irrepressible spirit of optimism, the message of hope and cheer, with no threats of hell and brimstone anywhere in it, cannot be considered to have changed its music all of a sudden to declare that man has hopes of salvation only after many births and not now and here. Even though this misinterpretation may perhaps be helpful to the saboteurs of our religion, no intelligent student of Gita can even for a moment be hoodwinked by such a fallen notes. Hari Om. What I got from this is here Bhagwan is talking about the yoga brashta men in these verses. Yati, he who does the constant study of Brahma Abhyas with the utmost faith, devotion, intense renunciation, with the desire of the moksha. But due to non attaining the Brahmanishta in this birth, the scholar is born again in the clan of the righteous Kula. He may not feel that he is a yogi or different from others or even desire to be a yogi, but because of the power of the samskaras of previous practices, he does not incite the subject from childhood. Even if there is no desire to become a yogi, he naturally drawn to the practice of yoga due to the influence of previous birth samskaras. As Gurudev mentioned, no God can either take away any or give some more, but can only hand over to each one of us our own exact balance. Our life is a logical continuity with its own past. From all Shrutis, Smritis, we understand that only karma, prajotpati, dhan cannot give us the Amrutatva. But if you want to attain an Amrutatva, we need to sacrifice Yeshana Treyi, Lokeshana, Vitteshana, and Putreshana. By this continuous Samadhi Abhyas, ignorance in the mind and ignorance related actions and results of actions are completely destroyed. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you so much, Sampadaji. We'll move to Balaji for his views on this two powerful verses today.
Hari Om, Sadgurunath Maharaj ki Jai. Very beautiful verses revealing a lot of truth which otherwise we can never come to know. Gurudev's commentaries especially and these two verses have been very elaborate and very revealing, and we should make the best use of it by studying it quite thoroughly. We have just finished the previous 43rd shloka, and wherein we have known very clearly, by now we understand that the death, so-called death, is only for the gross body B, whereas the subtle bodies of the mind and intellect, M and I, of a person, along with its causal body, the vasanas, moves on. That is the message of continuity that has been revealed through these Vedantic verses by Bhagavan himself. So there is no question of whether there is reincarnation or not. All these doubts by now must have been cleared up for all of the sincere seekers, and which by the very news or the fact that there is reincarnation and there is continuity itself is a great encouragement to all the seekers to pursue the path of study in this very life. And there is no doubt also that because of our accumulated good karmas and our previous practices, that we are now in the fold of the Chinmaya mission under the guidance of Sri Gurudev. So we must our heartfelt gratitude to Gurudev and continue to study these verses. Purvabhyasena, that is exactly what we are now discussing, former practices. Very interestingly, this former practices is nothing but in two ways. One, the 43rd verse has talked about the knowledge that we have gathered. Buddhi samyogam labate paurva dehikam, meaning the knowledge part of it that you have gathered without any interruption. The essential part knowledge carries forward with this birth. In 44th verse, emphasis has been given to abhyasa. So the knowledge that has been put to practice is also continuing with its accrued benefits. Gurudev here clearly says that similarly, a man who had in the past lived the life of self-control, study and practice gathers unto himself those cultural traits. So this is the point that has been explained in that Purva Abhyasena Tenaiva Kriyate. And that helplessly, that part of the explanation, the innate tendencies and our true nature comes along with all these practices that we have gathered in our past life. So whatever you are gets expressed when there is a proper circumstances and time that comes to you, and then we start expressing and realizing our previous accumulations. Now, in spite of himself, here this he avasho pisaha. Indeed, avashaha, helplessly. That is again, like we know very well that even though we are kind of trying to put in our sense controls in place, because of our past experiences, how we devolve, how we fall many a times to temptations of the, when the body and mind comes in contact with the OED, how we devolve and fall. In the same way, there is also, when the right circumstances and the contacts with the right sense objects, here the sense objects become the diviner objects, the same evolution will also happen. Now Gurudev, in that video that has been forwarded in the group, very clearly through his own experience and how he had in the 1947 after the independence, when he went to meet Dr. In the Divine Life Society, Shivananda Maharaj, and then how he had the doubts still continuing. Everything very beautifully in his own words has been explained. That is that in spite of himself, that word is very clearly explained and expounded through those expressions of Gurudev about himself in that video. That is a must watch, I believe. That's why we have forwarded it also. And then Jignasurapi, even an intention to know. So what is important here is that we have to keep alive in us that mumukshutva. The bhakta in you, the jnani in you, together comes out as the jignasu. Meaning whatever little you have learned, or whatever little traces of that truth that we have tried to know in our previous life, comes here also as an expression of wanting to know in this year, in this birth. Jignasu api yogasya. Even if you want to know a little bit about the practice of yoga and try to do even a little bit of it, you will surely excel and go beyond the Sabda Brahma. Here the Sabda Brahma in BMI chart, we see that it is Om. Already Om is placed above the Vasanas. So by practice of meditation, we will clearly cleanse our mind, intellect, and the purified mind and intellect, which is now suitable for contemplation of that Om, which is described as Sabda Brahma in the Vedas, experientially to realize that Om is going beyond the vasanas and the gunas, which is again part comes out of the practice of this particular dhyana. So the practice of dhyana culminates in you realizing the true nature, which is expressed in the Shabda as Om, that is the knowledge part of it. But to realize that Om is the very attempt made through Dhyana Yoga, and that will also, you will realize it in this very birth itself, is the emphasis given in these two shlokas. Now, in 45th shloka, again, in the explained by Sanjay ji Yatate in the 43rd verse, the industriousness required by a seeker. That Gurudev also says in his destiny can be changed. Man can change his destiny not by wishing for it, but by working for it. So therefore, we must do it. We must make it happen through prayattanam. Prayattanam is your own initiatives, continuing self-effort of what? Those three things that Gurudev has mentioned: self-control, study, and practice, all put together in one word, prayattanam. Yatamanasya, striving. So this is the consistent, our Ishwarji used to say, every shanam, continual study. So all those words are, will help us to understand this. Prayatanad Yatamanas yogi, a yogi who is striving continuously, assiduity, without any interruption, with a lot of conviction, continuing the practice of aspiring to be the yogi, that is through the process of meditation. That one who pursues unrelentlessly the practice of meditation after some Shuddha Kalbishaha, that is all beautifully given by Gurudev in that very beautiful paragraph. Very, very in-depth, profound message has been given here, that you replace your selfish vasana with selfless service, noble vasanas. And ultimately, this line is very, very interesting. If you have not noticed, you should notice. The noble traits also completely wiped off. There is a stage during the still moments of the peaceful peace, in the depth of his depths, when he exposes his mind to the thrilled atmosphere of the vibrant silence, the noble traits also get completely wiped off. We should wait for this to happen. Means first through purified mind and intellect, with the presence of very little agency left behind, that I am doing the good deeds, I am doing it, I am helping the mission, I am serving the mission, I am doing, even there, the nobility of deeds comes with this sense of agency, which shall be also completely vanished when it is experiencing the silence within a mind which in thus rendered completely impressionless, vasana less. From less vasanas to vasana less is another journey that we have to pursue. And next level, where level is the end of the mind, and that is how the gained the self-rediscovery Gurudev has given here. And that is there, Aneka Janma Samsiddha. Also, the misinterpretation, which is a total drawback set by many discouraging misunderstandings, has been very clearly condemned here by Gurudev in his strongly worded commentaries, that we right now in this very life is our last birth. What a reassuring statement it can be. Isn't it? Just to think of it. Who can give this much of authority, with so much of authority, so much clarity, so much encouragement? And that particular paragraph is worth reading it by himself. By itself is, The condensed version of the entire message of the Vedanta is there in this one paragraph. Which paragraph? To one who has the proper temperament to seek life. That paragraph is worth reading at least 100 times, in my opinion. And only Gurudev can write this. No other person can write this. Paucity of time, I'm not getting into the depth, but I'm bringing your attention that how that Darwin's theory of evolution clearly stops. Only I was talking about the physical evolution from stone man to man. But then the superhuman mentioned in the Darwin's theory can be explained only by this particular paragraph, which is the essential message of the Vedanta. Look how beautifully he is noblest creation under the sun, a perfect man, standing right in front of the doors of the truth, demanding as a God man his admission into the sanctum sanctorum. This is a pure superhuman evolution of becoming a God man in this very birth. Extremely important for us to get this clearly riveted in our minds and strive, put in our best efforts without any doubt. Gurudev is telling you will get it in this birth. What is your doubt? Extremely encouraging commentary from Gurudev. I enjoyed it very much. Sadguru Nath Maharaj ki jai.
Hari Om. Balaji sir, you're right. And this one paragraph which we are talking about, to the one who has got the temperament to seek life.
Yes.
This paragraph, I think itself can, we can devote 2-3 sessions on this.
Absolutely.
Every sentence has got so much condensation, clarity, conciseness. It's absolutely hard hitting,
Yes.
I'm sorry, normally I don't come in with, but when I read this, I said, this is something beyond any one of us,
Yes. Nothing wrong, Manishji. These are the things that has to be appreciated and captured in the group study, and then we must take it up for detailed study whenever we are having the time.
Absolutely.
One paragraph.
Yes.
Amazing paragraph.
Amazing.
We will wait for Sanjay ji to talk about it.
Yes, 100%.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Next, I would like, Bhuvanji, would you like to share your views on the today's paragraphs?
No, Manishji, today I practiced the previous stanzas.
Hari Om. No problem. We'll move to Nanduji. Would you like to share your views today?
Hari Om. Very nicely explained by Balaji Maharaj. Just to add a little bit thoughts on this slokas, we are just continuing on the Bhagwan's answer on the Arjuna's question. And in our Sanatan Dharma, there is one important Siddhanta which is about like a Karma Vipaka Siddhanta. So which is talking about like a past birth and how you will be born in this birth. And very nicely explained by Balaji, especially on the last part. And I think we have previously also discussed there, like Tukaram Maharaj is saying that Hechi Dehi, Hechi Dola, Bhogu Mukti Sa Sohla, means within this birth, we can enjoy that liberation. There is one sutra is coming in Brahma Sutra also. I mean, if there is no any hesitations happen within this birth, liberation. On little bit explanation on this talk about, this is having like, in my opinion, it's like having like very good relation between like three gunas about like Sattva, Raja, Tama. And there is like what we are earning, either papa or a punya, that is very important by our deeds. So, and there is one famous OV or maybe shloka, it is coming from the Gnaneshwar Maharaj is saying, which is about like punyatmaka pape swarga jaije, papatmaka pape narka jaije, mate jene pave te shuddha punya. Means with the good deeds, maybe we are going to earn about punya, and with bad deeds, maybe papa. But what literally for like a sadhaka should be able to earn about like a Shuddha Punya. And that Shuddha Punya only is going to take you to the Lord. And Sanjay ji in past, I think very nicely explained that during the Patanjali Yoga Sutra about like, what about Sukha and Dukkha? Sukha is also is like little bit part of Dukkha itself. Because whoever is having to be happy, he has to be becoming sad. But we have to be liberated from all those dvandvas. and that is only possible within the human birth itself. And that's why like natural our thinking is like when we have like good deeds, we'll go to Swargaloka. But Swargaloka, all those devas and everything, they are again coming back to in the like human form only to get the liberation. And the famous sloka of like Gita, which is talking about like Uduram Gachati Satvasa Madhyam Tishtati Rajasa. So whoever having like at least means good deed, he will go in that place where he will be having chance to get liberations. On the couple of things which is like I think Bhuvanji mentioned about like Jatabarata story, and from the Chinmay mission there is like Chinmay creation, Upanishad Ganga serials, and there is like a beautiful chapter on this. It's I believe on 34 Upanishad Ganga episode, which is talking about Jatabarata story. And in Gurudev's commentary, there is one important thing came about like bank thing, which is again like talking about like whatever you have balance there, based on that only, and there is no any cheating. Either maybe the banker is not going to give you extra or maybe less, and that is depend on your deeds only. That is a little bit short thoughts from this today's shloka. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you, Nandu. We'll Ishwarji, sorry, not Ishwarji. Nagarajji, would you like to share your views?
No, not today. Not today. Hari Om.
Okay. Subbuji?
Hari Om Manishji, not today, please.
Okay. Girishji?
Yes, Manishji. Nothing much actually, because from the verses 40 till this current verse, we have been given some basic about the fundamental pillars of our religious religious philosophy. So this is very critical, as everybody has mentioned here, Balaji or Nanduji. But the only thing which I just wanted to share here is it actually shaken the kind of perception I personally had about these continuity theory, or how the Brahman is explained to be not bound by time. So that's what I understood from this. So this basically is the perception which I had has been a little bit shaken. So, and need little bit more fine prints to again, what you call, recast the understanding. So that's what I'm looking for. So maybe some additional readings, if somebody can suggest, that is the great thing. That's the only thing, Manishi, I have to say now.
Hari Om. Thank you, Girishji. Umeshji, would you like to share your views on this today?
Yeah, Hari Om. Thank you, Manishji. Just, obviously, Balaji Maharaj has really said about this paragraph. There is one, when I read this particular other paragraph, which talks about how the Pandits have misinterpreted our religion. I was just thinking in terms of what I really understand from that. So what it says is that the Pandits are saying that your journey actually starts from now, and then it will take many births for you to attain the moksha. Whereas what Gurudev is trying to tell us is, if that was the case, then we would have been probably in a cellular form or a vegetable form, because then that is the start of your evolution. So I just want to know whether this is a right interpretation, whether that is exactly what Gurudev wants to say about this. Yeah, I think that is what those are the kind of questions which come to my mind. The second thing is that the meditation being a more superior way of getting there compared to the other, jnana yogas and other things. That is something that is also being, stressed upon pointedly here. That is what I observe. Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you, Umesh ji. I'm sure all this will come up for discussion. And Sanjay ji.
Yeah. Sure.
Meenakshi ji, would you like to share your views?
Yeah, Hari Om. So as everybody rightly said, it's very, very powerful verses and the commentary is very, very powerful. So I'll just cover up a few points. The paragraph in which Gurudev has mentioned that in spite of himself, so the way the educated man in spite of himself is carried forward with his behavior and conversation, although he tries to, even if he wants to act idiot, he can't. Similarly, the tendencies that we develop. So actions over here are not the physical actions, but the kind of thoughts that we cultivate in our mind, which are very powerful. Those thoughts will take us forward. So it's a very reassuring verse as well, where in the first paragraph, Gurudev has mentioned that our bank balance will be exactly as our credit and debit statements. So which is good to hear. Again, the second paragraph says that a man who had in the past lived the life of self-control, study, and practice. So these three are very important in my view. So something which we should ponder upon, we should work on is the self-control, study, and practice. So if we develop these, then they get carried forwarded. And again, Gurudev has mentioned again and again, in spite of himself, in spite of all the adverse circumstances. He has mentioned that each one of us has an instinctive bent of mind and we are drawn towards it, which we have seen as well. We get pulled towards doing things naturally, although we are not aware of it. That's the, and another thing, another point is on the page 78, the second last paragraph. Gurudev has mentioned, one who has walked his mind in the practice of self-control, study, and meditation in the past could not have any fascination for material wealth or sensual life, however celestial they be. So such an individual goes beyond all the charms of the promised fruit of Vedic rituals. Then the verse 45, which is very powerful. So here he's mentioned about vasanas. So the channels of thinking. So actions are the channels of thinking which we dig along the field of minds, and they get wiped off with selfless actions. And the second paragraph, I feel that Gurudev has mentioned his experiences, because who can write such things? Who can write all these things? The peaceful peace in the depth of his depths, when he exposes his mind to the thrilled atmosphere of his vibrant silence. And the mind is rendered completely impressionless is the end of the mind. And such a mind has ended. So this, I feel, is he's mentioning his own experiences in a very subtle manner. And the paragraph which Balaji also has mentioned, it's very, very powerful. It mentions the qualities of the person who would be reaching. So the person who has got the temperament to seek life, the anxiety to reach the perfection, the vigilance to understand the hollowness of the sense life, the daring to follow the narrow footprints of the seers of the world, the appetite for infinite peace and tranquility, the courage to live the moral and ethical values, and the bravery to barter once all to achieve the higher. So he's summarized the qualities of a person. So the conventional religion is when we just want to go to God, and I mean, it's a conventional religion is what the mass religion which we all follow. This meditation, probably the way I understand this meditation, why he has mentioned most superior is because a person who really has these qualities, who doesn't go for God as someone who is there to help him, but really wants to seek and understand life more importantly. And I was also reading Art of Man Making, wherein, as Balaji has rightfully mentioned, that Gurudev has mentioned about the Darwin theory, and Darwin has left with a vague statement saying that the superhuman is yet to be evolved. So that is where Vedanta. Huh? Sorry?
I was not able to hear you.
Can you guys hear me?
Actually, your connection is slightly weak, I think, internet connection, but it's okay. Actually, you can't help it much. So we go ahead. Yeah.
I'm a bit far from the laptop. Can you hear me clearly now or no?
Yes.
Not
Yes. Yes.
okay. Yeah. So basically,
Yes, we can.
yeah. So basically, the art of man making, Gurudev has mentioned about the Darwin. Darwin has left with a vague statement that the superhuman is yet to be evolved, and that's where Vedanta starts. He has also mentioned that the mind is hushed during meditation, and our inner personality is exposed to the vibrant silence. Yeah, and he's also said that rituals, whatever actions that we do, the karma yoga, the bhakti yoga, they are all necessary to purify mind. They are necessary. They are all important to purify the mind and make it one-pointed. But only inquiry into meditation will directly prepare us and bring us to the seat of yoga, which means that mental activity of thought is more powerful than mere physical actions in shaping our, shaping our future. I was today morning, I'll just finish off with this. Today morning, I was trying to also hear Swami Sarvapriyananda, but I also came across Swami Ranganathan, his commentary on verse 44. And he has mentioned about Jesus Christ mentioning, ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall get. So he said that people never understood this. What it actually means is the spirit gave us life, and whatever you ask. So basically from many births, if this is something which is continued for many births, and but behind the success, there are also failures. So the whole concept is to be persistent in achieving it. Hari Om.
Hari Om, thank you much. Who else would like to contribute today? Pradeep ji, please.
Hari Om. पूर्वाभ्यासेन तेन ह्रियते ह्यवशोऽपि सः जिज्ञासुरभियोगस्य शब्दब्रह्माति वर्तते. पूर्वाभ्यासेन तेन, the Tritiya Vibhakti, by the Purva Abhyasa, tena, by that means what? The vasanas which has been developed by the Purva Abhyasa, Hriyate is, Gurudev's commentary, it is written as is born, but the Sanskrit root is Harati. It is a Karmani Prayoga of Harati. Harati is pulled or taken away or attracted to, and so it is pulled to or attracted to those vasanas which has been practiced in the past. Purva abhyasena tena hriyate hi avashopi saha. Even though he is not free or he is still bound. So here we'll go back to the original question of Arjuna, that what will happen to me if to one who practices yoga and then falls from it, yoga brashta, what happens? That means he has done something not in line with yoga, but negative things. So what happens to him? Will he get broken like that rent cloud and all that was the question. So here Shankaracharya Swami's explanation is so beautiful there. He says that if unrighteous works have been performed, indeed they will subdue his impressions of yoga practice. When the more potent impressions weaken, the yogic impressions assert themselves in the results they produce. The yogic impressions do not perish even when held up for a long period. This is the idea. So, the whatever Purvabhyasa is done, which is in the positive direction, that will not go away. That is the Nahi Kalyana Kastit. That previous verse says that Durgadim Gachati. So that is re-emphasized here. But Gurudev, so beautiful explanation he gives in the opening, that like a bank balance, the bank manager cannot give you a penny more or less. It is exactly what has been deposited in the and transacted, you will get. So that is, so you are attracted to such this thing, even if you are Aswatandra, means you have not yet achieved the yoga. So even then, so what is, so whether the algebraic sum, which direction it is, plus or minus, so that direction it will be, your current actions will be. Then Jitnyasuhu api, even a Jitnyasu who wants to know the Swarupa Jnana, Atma Jnana, Jitnyasuhu api yogasya Shabda Brahma Adivartade. It just goes beyond the fancies of the Karma Kanda. So goes beyond towards the truth. And then Prayatnad yatamanas tu yogi samshuddha kilbisha aneka janma samsiddha tato yati param gatim. So the one who strives, he removes all the kilbishas, the negativities or the wrong tendencies, the vasanas. Aneka janma samsiddha, which has been established or accumulated over the last lives. With the accumulation of that, he reaches Yati Paramagatim, the supreme. There, Shankaracharya Swami is not elaborate, but Gurudev so beautifully gives us a lot of explanation, which is very, very powerful. That is, in fact, more than the verse, which is a which Balaji has said, that it is more sort of like a clarion call or something. But what I got stuck in the second paragraph, where Gurudev has written one sentence, that the explanation of this theory may not perhaps be in the may not perhaps be in print, occupy more than half a page, but in actually carving it out in our life, it may be a program of consistent practice for many, very many lives. So that is this one paragraph above it. He gives the explanation that even when, because now the accumulated tendencies are negative. For example, why is it so? Because you have been in the yoga and you have fallen, yoga brashta. So the tendencies are negative. Though the algebraic sum is negative, say for example, and so you are reclaiming the wrong negative tendencies of the mind. So that is being happening. But Gurudev says the individual will have to plow the fields of his mind with new patterns representing the constructive divine tendencies. So we have to, through various our Shastra Padana and coming in contact with Mahatmas, we learn and we are exposed to that. and we try to do it. But what happens is that so you accumulate some punyas and all that. So even that becomes a obstruction in the real meditation. I mean, so there the Swamiji explains how this ilbisha can be removed. So there the aspirant should practice meditation. That is where the importance of meditation is brought into. But to sit to get the asana siddhi, you have to do much more before the yama niyamas. Right from beginning, once you work on, then only you will get even the asana siddhi. Means to even just to sit. So we are many days. Gurudev's Vivek Chudamani is there. It is said that sit for 10 minutes, do nothing mentally and physically. It is impossible at this present situation. I try my level best, but it is not happening. Very simple thing, 10 minutes to sit in, do nothing, do physically or mental activity. So if such an aspirant who sits during the aspirant should practice meditation. So so that is the why we are not able to get the asana siddhi is because much more has to be done before. So that is the yama niyama, the 10 this thing andar bahya shuddhi has to be performed, practiced every moment. So after having purified his mind of its unethical and sensuous tendency, the aspirant should practice meditation. During this still moments of the peaceful peace, in the depth of its depths, when he exposes his mind to the thrilled atmosphere, in that peaceful peace, that silence of the silence, the depths of the depths, he says it is a vibrant silence. The noble traits will also get completely wiped off. So that is the state of the vasana-lessness. So it is said that the mind means there is something to weigh down, whether it is positive or negative. So that mind has to vanish, the weight has to go. Then only it will. That is because it is our one bundle of vasanas, whether it is good or bad or positive or negative. This thing. So that mind has to become light, and then only that impressionlessness state will achieve. Now, this Gurudev says that it is a perfect thing, which is the rishis have said it is possible. But then the pandits, they have made it crooked and said that this is it is not possible. It will take many lives and all these things. So there. This comes and Gurudev's reassurance that it is possible here and now is very, very much sort of supporting or encouraging for every sadhaka. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Jairam, would you like to share?
Hari Om. I was away for some time from the hustle and bustle of the city to a retreat in a peaceful surrounding with lots of ants, worms, birds for company. There was some time for reflection of life, and the vibrant silence Gurudev's talk about, I could really feel that and could feel God's presence in everywhere around you. It was a wonderful time. I'm back to this, and it is very interesting to partake in the discussion again. Pradeepji just mentioned, do nothing. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible when you can do nothing, but see the presence of God everywhere when we able to cut off from this day-to-day life around you. That was a wonderful experience for me. Be with the nature and feel the presence of God everywhere. Only this much today. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you. Jairamji. Now we'll go to Sanjay.
Hari Om. As rightly said by everyone, including Balaji Maharaj, pointed out by Pradeep ji, both these shlok have been commented immensely by Gurudev. It is extensive as well as intensive. The offering is so delicious that even the presentation is likely to carry us away. The way language English has been used by Gurudev in these two explanations, it completely defies the normal heights that one can achieve in literary expression, and yet not leave at any moment the essence of the meaning of the shloka. Yogeshwara Krishna is telling Arjuna, Tena Purvabhyasena eva. For us, this part of the shlok is for us. Tena, by that, Tena, Trutiya, as Pradiji pointed out, Purva Abhyasena eva. Insistence of that eva as avyaya is by nothing else but by Purva Abhyasa only. What is the importance of that for us? In one little swipe of 3 words, Yogeshwara has told the entire world that stop all these stupid discussions amongst you regarding what is the use of going to temple. What is the point in saying Ram, Ram, Ram when you are not at all into it? What is the point in doing satsang? Because how many satsangs did nothing happen to you so far? You are same as I see you. You're still angry. You're still that. Do not pay heed to any of the unsolicited advice given by those who call themselves scientifically educated. Our 100% Shraddha on the saintly people and the Yogeshwara Krishna clearly tells us through the mouth of Bhagavad Gita that Tena Purva Abhyasena eva. I have to have uttered the word Ram. Then only I will feel like uttering the word Ram. It applies to both the Shreyas and the Prayas. In a very luminous family, we find a debaucherous son being born. In actual, it is a fact, as I know, it happened at one place that Prakanda Ved, the Pandit's daughter, ran away, eloped with some debaucherous guy. Everybody was surprised. How can a Panditji's daughter do that? Such a susamskari. Preet Purani Karanere Chuga Chuga Kankad Khai. Kabir Maharaj says it is actually a house. He is supposed to eat only the moti pearl. But Preeta Purani Karane, because of the old past love, Chuga Chuga Kankar Khai. He is eating all the gravel, the pebbles. Similarly, this clearly also gives us a barometer to test ourselves what kind of tendencies I am born with. Now we need to understand the difference between impression, samskara, tendency, pravrutti, and shila, character. One anubhava leads to one samskara. I saw jalebi first time in life. There is an anubhava of seeing and eating jalebi. Samskar is born. Jalebi is delicious. It's such a nice thing. So now there is a samskar which is there in the attic called memory. One file is created called impression, samskar. These samskaras, if repeated again and again, now when the file which is used again and again does not gather dust or doesn't get destroyed. So if this samskara is repeated again and again, that next weekend again I will have jalebi. So there is a repetition of another samskara. Samskar after samskar after samskar leads to what Gurudev calls grooving of the desire. When samskar gets crystallized or ossified, it is called vasana. Oft repeated samskara to the extent of becoming a stabilized form, sthiti, is called vasana. A normal samskara is like a wound which is healing. A repetitive wound happening at that place leads to formation of scar tissue, vasana. That vasana is collected into karmashaya. Now we are talking of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. From the karmashaya, the vast ocean of vasanas, certain number of vasanas are taken out along with the appropriate body. That is why vasana and deha samskar go together. When the male dog is born, he is not taught by his parents to raise the leg while urinating. He does it automatically. When the turtle is born, he is not taught to swim. He swims automatically. Even after being hatched on the shore, it will crawl towards the water. Purva samskara vasana. So vasana have an ability of getting ignited, and they get ignited like a very explosive material. That is called vasana uddipana. A person who was continuously murdering the people who are walking, we were journeying for the pilgrimage, Ratnakar. One fine day, the old vasana of doing spiritual exercise springs forth and Valmiki is born. Now, Gurudeva wanted to comb his hairs very fashionably by putting a lot of coconut oil, to the extent that his father told him that you will become bald the way you are playing with your hair. The vasana of past birth, little bit was remaining. Gurudev exhausted it in young age. If we read the book written by Gurudeva about his pilgrimage in Himalaya, the book ends abruptly. And in the preface of the book, Gurudev has written that the Swami who undertook this Himalayan pilgrimage stopped writing because either the material called pencil and paper got exhausted, or his vasana of writing something as a journalist got exhausted. The second sentence is very important. So Purva Abhyasa, now this word Abhyasa is important. One impression, one samskar will not make any change in you. It is the repetitive samskara that is important. That is why there is a saying that there is no harm if the old woman has died, but by this death, Yama is getting accustomed to take people away. This getting accustomed to the samskara is a problem. First time when the drinks are taken in young age, generally everybody swears, oh, beer, it is so bitter. How can you drink like such a bitter thing? It is not at all taste. first impression, but then he goes again with the friends, has it again with the friends, and then he becomes addicted to the beer or the alcohol. A repetitive samskara. Now that is because of tena purva abhyasena eva is important for us, because first thing I can check myself in my own barometer, what impressions, what tendencies I have. I have a tendency towards women. Sir, there is a lot of womanizing you have done in the past. I have a tendency to help everyone. Sir, you have helped everybody in the past. I understand Bhagavad Gita easily. You have read Bhagavad Gita earlier in the past. I don't find difficulty with Sanskrit or Upanishad. I have studied Sanskrit and Upanishad previously. We have a stupid habit of calling people who understand Upanishad as, oh, they are very intelligent. I am not that much. I can't understand. It is very complicated. It is not complicated. He has been studying earlier. He went to the school much before you. That is why he is little ahead of you. There's nothing ahead, nothing behind. Tena purva abhyasena eva riyate. As Pradipjit said, carried away. Then why Gurudev has given the meaning as is born? Is born because it is called Lakshanartha. You have to take Jad Ajad Lakshana. What it means is Pranasya Riyate. Pranam Riyate Yasya Saha. That which takes away the prana, carries away the prana, means mrityu. And that which is dead has to be born again. With that Lakshanartha, he has used the word in that context, but carried away is also right. So he gets carried away, but not just like carried away like, the wind is blowing something. No, by force, avashaha. You cannot. Swami Vivekananda told Ramakrishna Paramahamsa that I will never indulge into the business of teaching to the world. I just want to go into the cave and just meditate. Ramakrishna said, Narendra, you will have to teach the world. He said, nothing doing, I will not. And then Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said, your bones will do it. Forget about you not saying. Arjuna said, I will not fight. Lord, I don't want to fight. No, don't. Yogeshwara said, in Gnaneshwar Maharaj has given that statement, Tuja swabhava zunzavila. Your nature, Arjuna, will make you fight. What do you say? You will not. Your tendency, you are a Kshatriya. At the same time, while fighting the war, your original inclination for jnana will come out, and I have to tell you the Bhagavad Gita. Right in the midst of the war, your tendency came out, impulse to know the world, to know the Lord. And the Lord has to oblige. Midst of warfare going on, the Lord had to start what is to be done, what is not to be done. The whole Bhagavad Gita came out. Shivaji Maharaj conquered the territory of Kalyan, which is near Thana. And there was the Sardar of that place. He was defeated. And his daughter-in-law was the most beautiful lady during those days. The entire area knew as a most beautiful lady. So naturally, the conquered king being Shivaji, this lady was offered, which was the pratha of that particular time, because vanquished has to give everything to the conqueror. So she was brought in front of Shivaji Maharaj and said, Shivaji Maharaj, such a beautiful daughter-in-law of this defeated man, you can have it as your wife or whatever you want it. And Shivaji Maharaj said, ah, what a beauty. Had she been my mother, I would have been also equally beautiful. So what he saw in her, a mother. Why? Impulse of the past. Because he was inveritable, he was a reincarnation of Shiva himself. I am not saying it, Vivekananda said it about Shivaji. Because he had inclination of that kind, even that lady appeared to be a mother. So avasho hi api, avasha. Don't try to blame in our life anybody who is a drunkard. He drinks, he has no control. And sir, it is not a question of control. He is being impelled to do it. Have sympathetic karuna for such people. Don't try to say that I am better than him. No, you are not better. You have also tendencies. Have always compassionate attitude. That is why even while crucifying, Lord Jesus said, Lord, pardon them. They do not know what they are doing. They do not know because they have a habit of not knowing what they are doing. Ajnana. Jidnyasuhi api yogasya shabda brahmati. Now the question is, shabda brahma ativartate. Langhate. Ativartate. Every word in Sanskrit has a very important connotation. Atyeti, it is to eat up. Atyeti. Atyanta is to eat up to the end. That means finish. Atyanta. Ativartate, the vartamana, the present state condition is eaten up. The correct translation for that, Gurudev used the word for our understanding goes beyond, but it means transcend. Now comes the question, Jidnyasu, who wishes to know. Artharthi, na. Father died, suddenly I remembered God. No. दुख में सुमिरन सब करे, सुख में करे न कोई, सुख में सुमिरन करे तो दुख का एक होए. When everything is all right, there is no need to remember God or any help. That time if we remember is called Jidnyasu. Such a Jidnyasu, Shabda Brahma Ativartate, he goes beyond Shabda Brahma. So first thing to understand, there are two aspects here of philosophy, and one of them is a tussle between Shankaracharya and Madhusudan Saraswati. In Shankaracharya's commentary, he has given that the past samskara, yoga bhyasa samskarad balvattaram adharmadi lakshanam yoga bhyasa janitena samskarena riyate adharmaha chet balvattaraha. In case the sins are stronger, bad tendencies are stronger, adharmaha ched balvattaraha krutaha tena yogajaha api samskaraha abhibhuyate. If the desire for worldly things is strong, it presses the desire for the knowledge. And if the desire for knowledge is strong, it presses the desire for the worldly things. That is what Shankaracharya takes a stand. Madhusudan Saraswati Maharaj has taken a little subtle different stand on this. He says the pressure of vasanas for realization of God is stronger than the pressure of vasanas for the vyavaharik thing. So material vasanas are weaker compared to spiritual or godly vasanas. Now he is trying to give qualitative importance to godly vasana. Shankaracharya says both of them are same, depends upon whose pressure is high or low. However, Madhusudan Saraswati, it's a very subtle point. Why he says so? He says helping others, being good to others, never expecting anything as a fruit of action, all these are in line with the ultimate reality or Brahman. That's why such desires have a powerful vasana. It has a more power than the vasana of material possession or worldly enjoyment. This is one difference it is there. Second important concept, by just one word, Shabda Brahma. Moment any adjective is put to the word Brahma, we are talking of Apara Brahma, Saguna Brahma. Now, Shabda Brahma, that which never manifested, which never intended to be manifested, which has no desire to be manifested, that which is Ekameva Dvitiya, that which is Shuddham, Anantam, Jnanam. When it appears to have become Apara Brahma, appears to have become, we are talking of Vivarta here, appears to have become, then the entry of that highest one into the lower upper happens first through what is called as sankalpana, ideation. Ideation leads to action or rupa, nama rupa. First nama rupa or ideation manifesting itself is nothing else but Omkara. Omkara is the boundary between that which is completely unfathomable and that which is always ascertainable. Vyakta, avyakta. If we have to use Kabir Maharaj's word, had jaye har koi, anhad jaye na koi. Saguna Brahma, everybody goes. Nirguna, nobody goes. Had jaye, limited, everybody. Had jaye har koi, anhad jaye na koi. Had anhad ke beech mein raha kabira soy. If you want to cross atyeti, ativartate, then you have to cross the body of Kabira, means the knowledge of Kabira, the footprints of the seers, as the Gurudev calls it. So Shabda Brahma being the first visible, first demonstrable manifestation of Nirguna Brahma into Sarguna Brahma, whose one leg is in Nirguna, one leg is in Saguna. That is why everything since has emanated from there, Omkara transcends everything that is there, yet is a part of everything that is there as manifested or Vyakta. Now the yogi incidentally goes beyond the Brahma. Meaning what? Goes beyond Avyakta. Yoyam Sambhutam Rataha, Ishavasya Upanishad. Videha Deva, the concept in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, is also transcended. Prakruti Laya is also transcended. So from Saguna to Nirguna, when the yogi is going, he is able to transcend it because Shabda Brahma is normally here referred as Vedic rituals, which is nothing else but the process of purification of Chitta. So Purva Mimamsa or the ritualism of Veda is for Papanashanam. But Papanashanam alone will not give you Bandhanashanam. Uttara Mimamsa is for Bandhanashanam. Purva Mimamsa or the Vedic rituals are for graduation. Uttar Mimamsa is post-graduation. That is why Purva Mimamsa and Uttar Mimamsa can be joined serially but cannot run parallelly. Which in other words means karma and jnana, there cannot be samuchaya. There can be krama samuchaya, but not sama samuchaya. That is what is to be indicated here by Shankaracharya Maharaj, which in one word, Bhagavad Gita Mata says, Shabda Brahma Ativartate. Gurudev puts it in his own words. The cultural growth of a given mind. Cultural growth, he doesn't say spiritual growth. Cultural growth of a given mind and intellect is Chitta Shuddhi, Papanashanam. And the spiritual meditation, Dhyana. All actions that are done come under karma. And that is the reason why Gurudeva says, each one of us has an instinctive bent of mind, which leads to character formation. Vivekananda always used to say, formulate strong character, means make a good impression, get an experience of chanting maybe one time the Lord's name, keep repeating so that you repeat the sanskar, convert that into a japa so that it becomes a vasana, because of which your Chitta Shuddhi will always propel you to do, not to do wrong things, because you have been doing righteous things. And how do you do that? Gurudeva says, own willful actions performed and deliberate motives entertained. So deliberate motives is vichara, willful actions is actions into the world. So karya as well as vichara, both, if they are in the right bend of mind, you will reach faster. All the wealth of the world commanded, unquestioned might and power gained, love or respect given cannot persuade him away from the divine path. The classical example is of prince of immense wealth and power, Siddhartha Gautam Buddha, who had not seen sorrow all his life till he comes across only first encounter with the life, with the sorrow. An old person and a death, enough to give impetus to the impulse of renunciation, and the prince walks out of the palace right away. Gurudeva says, Lord wants to glorify the path of meditation more than the path of action and worship. This itself means jnana karma samuchaya. Krama samuchaya, not sama samuchaya. In the second shloka, prayatnat yatamanaha tu yogi samshuddha kilbishaya. Prayatnat, assiduity. Assiduously means not only effort. Prayatna is not effort. Assiduous effort. Careful effort is assiduousness. Prayatnat yatamanaha. Yata means constantly striving. Yatamanaha is applying himself. Again realizing not perfectly applied. Again applying. Again realizing till the perfection is achieved. Aneka janma samsiddhis tataha yati param gatim. The most controversial part here is of the many births. Gurudev has directly criticized post-Puranic era and Chaitanya age. That is because in Gaudiya Sampradaya, which follows Gauranga or the Chaitanya Prabhu Maharaj, some of the philosophers of that Bhakti school, they say that unless you are able to say Krishna Krishna Rama Rama, which you can do only in human life, which you have done now, that means now onwards you will require multiple births. Gurudeva says, no, sir. One, in his previous life, he must have said that, which you are ignoring completely. One. Two, you say that you will keep saying because you just started doing it. How do you know you just started it? You might be doing it for a longer time. Three, the past things done, tendencies, when they manifest and you feel like saying Rama Rama, the Gaudiya Sampradaya or a Bhakti Sampradaya calls it call of God. Why did you feel like saying Rama Rama? It is call of the God. Advaita Siddhanta says no. It is your own effort that is making you call again Bhagavan Shri Ram. See the difference between the two. One is will of the God, so you said Ram. Another is no, God has nothing to do with it. It is entirely your creation. You said Ram, so you are now saying Ram. You said Sham, so you are now saying Sham. That is the difference. That is why Gurudev condemns the Pandit who says that it has happened right now and now it will take multiple births. He says there is nothing like multiple births. If the tendency is strong, you can do it here and now. And why wouldn't he say so when he himself has done it? Who else has a moral authority to say that it can be done in the same birth except Gurudeva? But he puts a precondition. To one who has that particular paragraph, which is eulogized by everybody and should be rightfully so, proper temperament to seek life, Chitta Shuddhi, anxiety to realize, Mumukshatva, vigilance to understand the hollowness, Viveka, daring to follow the footprints of the seers, Shraddha, appetite for infinite peace, Mumukshatva, tranquility and courage to leave the moral and ethical values, Titiksha, heroism to barter one's all, Vairagya. All this, if it is done, then Gurudeva says you get peaceful peace. Jnaneshwar Maharaj used the word Shanti Chishpe Shanti. Shanti means where the peace goes to search for the peace. the peace itself goes to search for the peace, that place, peaceful peace. And then he says, thrilled atmosphere of vibrant silence. Gurudeva uses word so carefully, not silence, vibrant because it is not Shunyavad of Buddhism. It is not complete negativity that is silent. There is, in that complete silence, in that complete absence of everything, there is presence of something, vibrancy, the Ladini Shakti of Brahman, the bliss that is existing as the nature of that particular state. That means there is a positive connotation in the absence of everything. It is not a negative connotation like a Shunya Vada of the Mahayana Buddhism. That is why in both the places, Gurudeva has been very, very particular in saying that do not worry about what has happened in the past. First, cross-check yourself. Do you feel like reading scriptures? I do. That means you have read it earlier. Now what you do? You continue with the sanskar again and again. Then what will happen in the next birth? Right at the age of 10, 11, you will start reading Bhagavad Gita. This birth, what happened? Somewhere around 30, 40, Pradeepji told me that, why don't you attend satsanga? Then the Bhagavad Gita came in my life. Impulse makes you. Kabir comes into the life. We unannounced. Why? It was done in the past, so it has to come. Some people suddenly feel that, I'm interested in bhakti. Jnana is somehow dry for me. It is because you have been doing bhakti earlier. Some people are so much into philosophy, Sanskrit, the drier aspect of so-called drier aspect of Advaita Vedanta, that appeals them. Why? You've been doing it earlier. Depending upon what you have done earlier. So one message that is clear here to everybody is, keep doing the right thing. That will take us to the right path. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you. Great. Sukumarji, please.
Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukhabhag bhavet, asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Let us take our pledge now. We stand as one family, bound to each other with love and respect. We serve as an army, courageous and disciplined, ever ready to fight against all low tendencies and false values within and without us. We live honestly the noble life of sacrifice and service, producing more than what we consume and giving more than what we take.
We seize the Lord's grace, keep us on the path of virtue, courage, and wisdom. May thy grace and blessings flow through us to the world around us. We believe that the service of our country is the service of the Lord of Lords, and devotion to the people is the devotion to the Supreme Self. We know our responsibilities, give us the ability and courage to fulfill them. Om Tat Sat.
Om Tat Sat. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.